Hello, Jen here with another Tuesdays in the Attic layout for you. It is also May I Scraplift You month, so I am scraplifting Beth. That was May 9th suggested person to scraplift, so I went ahead into her Instagram account, Beth 2408, and I found this super cute layout that I really loved, so that is what I'm picking to scrap lift. I went into my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit and pulled out some papers that I wanted to use and a picture that I wanted to use. The theme for this month is grunge, so I have lots of kind of boys stuff because those collections seem to be a little bit more grungy and scuffed up and that type of thing. So this is the Cocoa Vanilla No Limits paper stack. They're 6x8 papers. And so I just went and picked a few that I wanted, kind of checking to see what the Freaky Fast formula for today's layout is so that I had the right amount of papers for the measurements that I needed to cut. And then I went ahead in. So there is one little change that I'm making. Just because I'm using these 6x8 papers, I won't be able to do the 9-inch measurements. So instead of 9 by 4.5, I have 8 by 4.5. And then instead of the 9 by 1.5, I have obviously 8 by 1.5, but I'm okay with that. I think I mentioned in my last video, now that I've used these Freaky Fast formulas a few times, I'm kind of comfortable, playing and mixing them up a little bit and putting my own take on them. So I'm more than happy to just, use the papers that I have available. So we're going with 8 inches instead of 9 inches. And then there was also a 5 by 1 and a 3 by 4. So those are the measurements. The Freaky Fast formulas come from the Scraproom. So the links are down below if you want to go check them out. We're still working through, when I say we, I mean Jacqie, who is the person who does Tuesdays in the Attic, and let me just tag along with her. So this is her series and her idea, and she's put all the work into it. And so she went way back to the beginning when the Scraproom was actually putting out these Freaky Fast formulas on their blog, and they were just sort of an occasional thing. They didn't really happen with any regularity. They were sort of just, here's some ideas. If you're in a rut, why don't you try taking a bunch of papers, cut them to these sizes, move them around on the page, see where they all kind of fit, and hopefully that, sparks a little bit of an idea and it gets you out of your rut. So that's where they started. And I think we're still at that point where these formulas you would have to go way back into the blog to try to find, because they do now have them as a regular challenge on their Facebook group and stuff like that, but they didn't at the time. And so we are still working with those original ones, but you can head to the Facebook group and play with their current ones and enter the challenges if you wanted to. They're a lot of fun and just a different way to kind of think about scrapbooking and get a little bit of inspiration rather than using a sketch or a scrap lift or anything like that. Obviously, I'm combining them for this next couple of layouts because it's May, but you can just use them on their own as well, and they're so much fun. And Jacqie is creating every Tuesday, and Mel also joins us. And when you put all 3 layouts together, even though we've used the same measurements, we never come up with the exact same design. So it's really fun. It just helps to spark an idea, spark a little bit of creativity. So once I cut all of my papers, now I've gone back to kind of looking at the scrap lift layout that I'm following. And that's where my design is going to come from. So rather than just taking those papers and trying to kind of put them together like a puzzle piece, move them around the paper until I find something I like, I'm going to use the scrap lift layout to kind of dictate my design. So I had to take those papers and cut them to make these banners, because that's actually what I really liked. I love doing a good banner layout, and so this one really excited me. You can see here, obviously, because I have all the different sized measurements to my papers, that my banners are all different sizes, which is a little bit different from the original layout. Beth also had 2 photos, so I was kind of looking for something where I could have maybe 2 photos, or in this case I sort of have 3 photos. But when I was putting my How to Kill a Kit with Style Kit together, I sort of specifically pulled this photo out to use with this one square from the Authentique collection that I threw in. The whole collection itself is not grungy, but this particular square is super grungy to me, and I really wanted to be able to use it. And the little kind of green color that's in it matches the green in Landon's car seat. And so it just made me want to put the two of those together. And he is being super cute and this super cool little dude after getting his hair cut. And so I just thought the whole thing worked well. And I wanted to make sure that I used that one piece of the paper with this picture. So I went ahead and cut that out and just kind of stretched my pictures on either side of that. And I think because my banners are a little bit longer than Beth's, it kind of helped to just increase the size of my picture cluster, I guess you could say. So it worked for me. And so I went ahead and kind of popped those all down and put my pictures down. And then with the little offcuts that I had from the making the tails of the banners, that's actually what I used to create my little cluster down at the bottom, just like Beth has. So I didn't want to waste that paper, and I knew that I had already kind of cheated on the measurements, and so I didn't want to go and try to add new paper or more paper in. I wanted to use what I had, and so those worked out really cute, and it's just this really fun, different looking kind of cluster down in the bottom there. In about the same place where Beth has hers. So once all the paper was down, now I can go into my stickers. I'm pulling things out from the No Limit collection, but also from Legendary, I think. Oh, and the Boys Rule. I think I use a little bit from all three of those collections. They're all in my kit. The Legendary and Boys Rule is definitely a little bit more on the grungy side, but the Cocoa Vanilla Boy collections, they all have a lot of similar colors. They may not be the exact same blues, or they may not use the exact same fonts from one collection to the next, but in general, they've got the blues, yellows, some sort of green, and then they've got orangey reddish tones. And so they all do mix and match really well. They've usually got some gray and black in there too. So I'm just combining all of them. I've got the cardstock ephemera pieces from No Limits, and I've got chipboard stickers from No Limits. I have cardstock ephemera or die cuts from Legendary, and then I have these are like a chipboard ephemera from Boys Rule, and also the flare from Boys Rule. I'm going to pull one of those out, and that gives me a bit of a visual triangle with the wood grain, because that flare is wood grain. And then I've got orange stars. I love orange as the accent. Green is sort of what I was looking for as an accent, because obviously it was the inspiration because of the car seat color, but orange is actually what I kind of thought looked really cool. I like the orange stars. There is a visual triangle with the green as well. And then definitely the embellishment clusters kind of create a visual triangle with those stars. So lots of fun. I tried to put things generally in the same place as Beth has hers. So over to the right-hand side of her photos, she has a little bit of layering kind of in that one photo, and a few little tiny words and things like that. So that's what I'm doing over here on this right hand side. And then where she has her title, I just added a couple of banners. I didn't want to put a bigger title because that what does it say? It's like it says little cool dude, but then the word super is there. So I think it's supposed to read as super cool little dude. That's just my take on it, but that's sort of like my title. So I didn't need to add another extra title where Beth has her title. And then I did want a little bit of a spot for some journaling. And so I'm just going to add some extra layers over here with these little labels. And then I can put my journaling right there instead of how Beth sort of has hers I think she probably typed them and then cut them out, and that is underneath her photo cluster. And that's kind of it. This came together super, super quick. Off camera, I do go ahead and outline everything and do a few splatters. And that's it. That is my layout. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already and check out all of the links below. Until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Give me to button. Tell my channel.